working as? Is it Lori or Corey?
Well, I was supposed to go 30 minutes ago.
Okay. Then you can hang around. Let me work with the articulations with Lori. We've been having terrible Zoom issues today. So I kind of did the first two on my own, and I really appreciate you being willing to do this, Corey. Why don't you sort of hang out as somebody can comment on stuff. So Lori, good to see you. We've been having terrible Zoom and network issues all at the same time, but we've been having a really good discussion. We've done posture, and then we just did about a half hour on breathing. And the way that I envision this, and this is not only for Lori and Corey, but for everybody, the way I envision this seminar is that we just do it kind of like an order of aspects of a good voice lesson, going in order. Prepare the body, prepare the breath. Now we're preparing aspects of the body, which in this case are the articulators, which for the students and for the teachers, it's good to review. The articulators for singing, the main ones are the three ones, which are your tongue, your lips, and your jaw. Now, my personal belief of the articulators are that for the most part, the tongue is what's important. You can find a position for the lips that generally works for all the vowels, which for me is down and up, which is actually hard for woodwind and brass players because we like to make an embouchure. With a trumpet, you have to blow out the air through compressed closed lips. I'm not exactly sure about, woodwinds and flutes and all this stuff, but it's not, nobody plays a flute like that, right? And we tend to think of notes and phrases in our embouchure as wind players. So this is one aspect. The breathing is something we do well as wind and brass players. The lip position is something that a lot of us struggle with, and I still do to this day, decades later after I put down the trumpet. So what I do is I go like this and just listen for proof. Don't take my word for it. But if I go, listen how much better it sounds so I get the lips out of the way. So I call it down and up lip position. And it's very much like a fish. So while I might say, gee, Lori, I wouldn't do it. I'd say, gee, Lori, it's great to see you. Spreading and everything going like that. That's speech. But in singing, gee, Lori, it's great to see you. And we have to train ourselves to do that. So oftentimes I will sing like this, happy birthday to you. And if you feel pressure here and here, then we're spreading too much. Ha, ha. Hear the difference? Right? And every vowel, that's true. What basically is happening is if the lips are forward and up and forward and down, then the teeth become a reflective surface for the sound to get pushed out even more. Ha, and it dampens it if we touch the teeth. Ha. Hear that acoustic boost in gain of volume we get from that. And good singing is efficient singing, which means louder singing, more full, present singing without more pressure. I'm not changing anything but the lips. I'm not adding more breath. I'm not adding more volume. It's just letting it phonate more. So that's lips. Jaw position, a lot of people, and we can debate this, think that it's like a two-finger thing. For me, that's too much. Watch what happens if I have used two fingers and I have the lip position. Or go, oh. It's okay. I like one. If I go, oh, it's just more focused and more round for me. So there are instances when we get in these special notes, which are transition notes that are passaggio notes or notes where the crack wants to start to happen, where we can play around with more space. But generally for about 93, 94% of all of our notes, I like one finger. So a lot of times in practice, I will do to find that space in those vowels. And what I do is I take the nail and I stick it sort of above where the ridge of those teeth are, and then I just bring the bottom teeth up to the fleshy part of the finger. And then with the other hand, I go down and out with the lips. So everybody just try that if you can. Obviously, if you're driving, then don't, which some of you are driving, I know. But I go, so everybody try that. Lori, unmute yourself. You are our lovely example person.
Sure.
Great. Now, Lori? Good. And what happens is if you're saying the vowels that way, since there's no tension in the lips and no tension in the jaw, because you're not struggling to get it open, you have more strength to put into your support. So it's like, is more supported than if I go, e, right? So that's it for jaw and lips. That's it. Those of you who are too young to remember Ronco rotisserie chicken, where you stick the chicken in and it would roast for an hour and rotate and all that stuff. And it was one of those infomercial things. And his big catchphrase that he had the audience do, he'd be like, you said it, and the audience would go, and forget it. So that's my you said it and forget it kind of way of singing with the lips, said it and jaw, and then forget it. Just keep it there. So I will, for any piece that I work on, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, whose birthday it is, happy birthday. And I'll do every phrase like that 1,000 times so that I get used to having that contained singing instead of letting it go whoa, 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 and that way with the lips. So that now we get to the real crux of the matter is, well, then where does the energy go? So Lori, I want to work with you on this. So can you, Lori, just go la 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 la.
La 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 la.
Can you do it with a jaw la? La 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 la.
You want me to move my jaw?
Yeah, move your jaw. For now, we're taking that away real soon, though. I just want everybody to hear kind of how silly it sounds if you're using your jaw to articulate when you don't have to. Watch.
La 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 la.
Now listen to the fast ones group. How silly the la 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 la, right? And don't try and make it sound silly. Just use the jaw to articulate, and it will sound silly. Trust me.
La 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 la.
Now, la 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 la. Keep it supported and use the tongue as the only sounder of that l.
La 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 la.
So suddenly we get sonic roundness, a sense of legato, but we still clearly hear an L, right? So that's an example which really highlights how silly it can be. But I'm here to tell you that most of our consonants don't need jaw movement, but that the tongue can do the heavy lifting, right? So I love it. I love. So I love. I'm slowing it down so you can hear what happens. If you close the jaw, you stop the legato, you stop the flow, you actually stop the music for a minute, and it's like, so I love. So do that. All right, say I love it. I love it. And I want you to do it two ways. The first way, close the jaw for the L, and the second way, do it with the tongue. And everybody make up your own mind what sounds better. Don't listen to me.
I love it. I love it.
Right. So I have a clear preference. We can debate it, but keep the roundness going. So how do we learn how to do that? Well, a lot of it is just working with the tongue. So I'm going to give you a series of tongue exercises, and then we're going to sing our vowels and consonants through that. So if it's just e, a, ah. Good. So that's like for you to feel like what that felt like. So the first exercise is just a tongue roll 8 times in each direction. So everybody can try this. So go both directions. The next is sticking out your tongue and going up, down, 8 times. Yeah. Now I'm looking at Corey and Lori. It sounds like a comedy team, Corey and Lori. So I'm looking at you guys, and you're doing pretty well with making sure that your jaw's not making that movement. When you're teaching others, pay close attention that it's not this. So I'm encouraging an independence of the jaw and the lips, right? And a good way to test it, and this is a little gross, but we're dealing with the body here, so yeah. A good way to test it is to look at yourself, look at your student, and if they can do this with total tongue freedom so that it doesn't go with the neck or the jaw, but it kind of lags behind and hits the side when I do this, watch. That's freedom of the tongue. A lot of times you'll see something like this, where it's kind of stuck. And it takes a while to break down that tension, right? So we had the circles in the mouth. Now we have the up, down, up, down. Now we have another one, side to side in the middle. 8 times and breathe. It's very important to breathe. Good. The next is diagonal up and diagonal down 8 times. So it's like, breathe while you're doing it. And after you've done that, it's the other way. Okay. Next is a circle outside the mouth 8 times each direction. 8 times each direction. Now we're getting into, this is going to be a little different for most people. So the tongue actually intersects kind of the opening in the very top part of the throat, here, and also in the middle here. So take your thumbs and very gently do circles. Never pressure in at all. And you should feel you can feel that tension go away. This is a gentle exercise. Just for about 10 seconds. And you can play around the directions, but it's never, right? Anytime you're dealing with the throat issues, it's never pressure in. Now, find the fat part of the base of the tongue, which is right here, in from your chin a little bit. You can be a little stronger with this one. It's like, so we go, and suddenly I have a free resonant tone, right? Whereas before it might sound like kind of like all I did was relax the tongue and suddenly the resonance kicks in, right? Good. So you've worked on the tongue for about 6 minutes, Lori, and now I want everybody listen to the quality of the sound now, see if it's any different. And Lori, tell me if you think it sounds different or if it feels different or both. And it can sound worse. I don't know. Don't trust me. So I want how you feel those two things are the first time and then that one.
I think they sounded a little different. They definitely feel different every time I do those exercises. It feels different since like all the time, like every single day, your tongue is constantly tensed, especially like when you talk and stuff. So.
Right. So a theme of singing is what are the similarities and what are the differences between spoken communication and sung communication, right? And spoken communication, as I just showed before, hi, Lori, it's great to see you. We're not caring about projecting for 400 people in a concert hall. When I speak to Lori, Corey, Matt, anybody, that's not the subconscious goal. But when you're on stage, everything's different. So everything has to become more efficient. We don't go around talking, hi, Corey, it's great to see you, using our resonance and, at least, I mean, gosh, I'm not making fun of it, but maybe normal people don't. I don't think they do. And I don't. And I'm not advocating that we do. What I do advocate is that we are very clear knowing what are the body parts that we have that can aid or get in the way, obstruct of making a crucial good tone, right? And for me, those are the tongue, the lips, and the jaw. Tongue and the jaw and the lips for my own thinking. And it's because, you know, I don't want to have to think about 10,000 things when I sing. So I don't have to think about my lips. I don't have to think about my space. All right. So everybody can try this. Lip up, lip down, spacer, and just go. Good. Corey, can I hear you do that?
Yeah.
Now, take it out and try and maintain that. Look at me. I'm not even moving anything, just the tongue. O does move a little bit, but then you go back for the U. So with O, you give yourself just a little bit more space. Right? E-A-O. Right? And we're going to talk a lot about O in the next session. Does anybody, any of our participants want to give that a shot? So if you do, unmute yourself and let's hear it. Any takers? No takers. Okay, good. What's that?
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. You want me to show video as well?
That'd be great.
Okay. With the spacers?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So, and we've had the benefit of actually working on some of these things together, right? So this isn't a foreign, this isn't a new novel concept to you. But I mean, does it make sense what I'm talking about?
Yes, it's like going to the gym and using weights and having all these weights and this resistance, and then you start taking some of the resistance off, going back to something without the resistance makes it twice as more effective. It's just like taking the weights off when you're running.
Yeah.
You're able to go twice as far and twice as long.
Really good analogy. Love it. Okay, so that is an introduction on how to deal with the main articulators, tongue, lips, and jaw. And when I say jaw, I just mean the space, how much space we regulate. And those are all choices. As young singers, we tend to not realize that we have choices over those things. We just kind of, in the beginning, at least, sing the way we're going to sing, right? But there's always a deeper understanding of technique, a deeper commitment of controlling our own bodies, and your tongue, your lips, and your jaw are body parts, right? And don't let them control you. Don't let the fact that we spend 99.9% of our communicative lives talking, don't let that take over the way that we sing, right? And these are strategies to do that. And the tongue exercises are strategies to take control, right? To work out tension in the tongue. If you have a free tongue, you're going to have a much freer tone. You have a free tongue, you actually get more breath because it's not in the way of the opening of the throat, right? So if everybody just does this, and see how much more breath you get on the intake because your tongue is literally out of the way of the opening of the throat. So it goes down, out of your mouth and down. Just try that, just go. Right? So you get more breath like that, but you can't go around singing that way. But what you can do is lay the tongue flat in the mouth and gently push it forward against the front bottom teeth, and you get a similar effect. So every time you breathe, it should be like against the teeth, down against the teeth. So it's like, everybody try that. And if anybody didn't get more breath, then let me know, because I want to know, you know, but I feel like I get much more actual air that way. Start combining that with the idea that you can do a bending breath from last session. It's like, And now you're really maximizing and training your body how to get as much air as possible. More air is pretty much always the way to go and always a good thing, right? So these are strategies to help deal with the articulators. The first two, the tongue and the jaw, set it and forget it. So we work out the tongue to get rid of tensions and use the tongue whenever possible to do all of the articulating choices of your vowels and your consonants, all right? If there are no questions, then I will take a little break and be back in a little while. But if there are questions or anything you want to talk about, then please let me know.